Good morning. I'm Peter Milios from the Finance News Network. Renewed selling on fears of a recession dragged the Dow Jones Industrial Average lower on Friday and pushed the S&P 500 into correction territory. The 30-stock Dow fell 1.12%. The S&P 500 slipped 0.48%, closing 10.3% lower from this year's peak on July 31st. The Dow was pressured by declines in JP Morgan Chase after CEO Jamie Dimon said he planned to sell 1 million shares next year. The Nasdaq Composite held 0.38% higher thanks to shares of Amazon. Amazon added more than 6% after the e-commerce giant trounced analyst expectations for revenue and earnings in the third quarter. Other mega-cap tech stocks such as Microsoft followed Amazon shares higher. The decline in key tech stocks pushed the Nasdaq into correction territory after falling more than 10% from its closing high in July on Wednesday. Last week also saw the index record its worst trading day since February. All three major averages registered steep weekly losses. The Dow and the S&P 500 are down 2.1% and 2.5% respectively for the week. The Nasdaq has fallen 2.6% in that time. Disappointing earnings have pressured the market last week. Forward dropped 14% week to date after the company missed third quarter expectations and pulled its guidance for the year, citing the UAW strike. Chevron shares were down 13% on the week after the energy giant reported earnings. Traders also weighed new inflation data after the core personal consumption expenditures reading for September was released ahead of the Federal Open Market Committee meeting this week. Core PCE increased 0.3% in the last month and 3.7% year over year, matching estimates from economists polled by Dow Jones. Consumer spending increased 0.7%, however, surpassing estimates of 0.5%. PCE is the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge. Turning to US sectors, consumer discretionary was the best performer on Friday, whilst energy was the worst. Turning to commodities, South Korean firms including LG Energy and POSCO Future M are racing to buy more graphite from China ahead of December's export controls. South Korea's trade ministry is also looking to African countries for potential material shortages. This move is amid growing competition between Beijing and Washington for key resources in the energy transition and high-tech sectors. Looking at the Australian scene, billionaire Gina Rinehart has purchased an 18% stake in Australian lithium developer Azure Minerals, potentially derailing a recent $1 billion takeover deal by Chilean miner SQM. Rinehart's Hancock Prospecting used a strategic move to acquire the stake, just below the threshold for a full takeover offer, similar to a recent tactic in the lithium sector. The SPY futures are pointing to a 1% fall. Thank you for listening.